asked for it, you got it. This is the final Logic breakdown we're going to do during the Chaos experience here. It's going to be for Chaos All, the title track, the magnum opus of this album, what everything was leading up to. Hopefully you have listened to it many times and have enjoyed the heck out of it. This is one of those huge songs that I just love. And I think I said in another video that this whole album, it was around this song. This song was always supposed to be the last song on the album, and it was going to be what clinched, you know, the idea. So let's go ahead and jump into the Logic file. I mean, hey, let's not beat around the bush. I already talked at length during the lyric breakdown and everything else about this song, because this song is just huge. You'll notice there's 45. That is a lot more tracks than what have been on some of the other songs. We'll talk about why in a moment. If I recall, I actually, and this is one of the few songs that I have this, but I have the original beatbox that I did, because that's what I do when I'm making a new song. If I get an idea, I'll bring up my phone and I'll go, and then I'll bring it into Logic and then see if I can recreate that. So, you know what? Let's listen to that first, because that was actually the first thing that I thought of was this, and this is where Chaos All came from. And it was just that simple. That's where it came from. And obviously, let's start there with the beat. You'll notice that this beat is much more involved than some of the other beats. There's 12 drum tracks, as opposed to most of the others had, like, I don't know, maybe 6, maybe 7. So the main beat is basically this. It's a kick, 3 hats, and then a snare. But the whole so that's where the fun comes in, is figuring out how to make that sound right. And that's why I end up using a lot of different sounds. Like, there are 3 hats here. Like, on stage, there probably would just be the one that you would be hitting in different spots to get the different sound. But I'm like, I can't just have it be the one sound. It has to sound like it's real. So let's listen to that. You get to hear this one in the song by itself before the rest of the instruments come in, because I feel like it's that important to hear this beat, because this is where the whole song stemmed from. And then obviously I added in a crash to accentuate those last boom. Psh. You'll notice too that it does 1 crash, then 2, then 1, then 2, also for just some variety. And I use the 2s transitioning to a new section, right? So you'll notice here, this is the verse. When it's transitioning to the chorus, we have 2, then 1, and then 2 transitioning back into the verse. Then 2 going into the chorus again, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2 going into the breakdown, and then there's tons. We'll talk about that. There is method to my madness here. So I ended up using, the same, impact snare here for most of the song. We do add in some different ones during the breakdown, but I did end up using the same, just really nice, snappy during the chorus then. But during the verse, I do change it to a different snare, just to give a slightly different sound during that. So just to hear the transition from the chorus beat to the verse beat. So you'll notice when I go to the verse, the snare is different, and I leave this open one, because open hat is like, that's like energy, and I kind of wanted to bring the energy down during the verse, which is why there's also no crashes. So that's kind of an important thing, and I do that a lot in my songs. Even if I'm changing it up just a little bit, I will change up the beat from the chorus to the bass taking things away so that the chorus sounds much, much bigger. And that's a trick that I use too, is that I don't always necessarily add things to the chorus to make it sound bigger. Sometimes you take things away from the verse to make the chorus sound bigger. So there you go. Some pro tips there. So the beat mostly stays the same until obviously the breakdown where I'm going and doing a massive guitar solo over it as well. That's actually where I add in toms. I add in this dry tom. I also add in a different snare, the nice snare. But I also am leaving in the main one. So this snare is mostly to kind of go with the tom and make it sound big as you're rising. I also have some automation on there so that not only is the intensity is rising, so I want it to be getting louder as it goes. And then it kind of goes back to the sound that we're used to with the impact snare and the open hat again, because again, energy, right, with the open hats. And then obviously not only the crashes that we've been using, but more crashes. I added in more crashes. Also, if you look here, not just the regular kick drum, I added a whole other kick. So now there's even more kick as you're leading up. So it's going boom, 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 boom. Hey, I'm not even, let me stop pantomiming. You can listen to it. The beat does stay the same. It doesn't necessarily make many changes, except for there's a part during the chorus, over here, where like right before it ends, where I kind of give the drums a chance to kind of peek out from the chorus again, because it's supposed to be chaotic. I want the drums to doesn't necessarily need to be all the guitar. So I added in this version of the drums. I'm sure you'll hear it in the song. I mean, even just watching the beat itself, you can see that there's a lot going on here. So let's go to the other star of the song, which in my opinion, Nick is one of my musical mentors. He was on the first Strays of the World album on Alva Adore. He did the bass line there, super funky. And he brought it again on this one. It was interesting because I played my demo for him, and you guys can hear that demo where there's not really anything crazy happening with the bass. And he goes, I got something for that. I can make something up with that. And he sent me this file, and I was like, this is just magic. And he's like, oh, I might want to change a few things. I'm like, don't you dare. So just to kind of give you, I want you to hear this because it is just super awesome. And I don't know if it gets lost in the song. For me, it doesn't. To me, it rings out really well in the mix, but just in case it doesn't for you, I want you to hear it because he did a masterful job here with this bass line. I mean, come on, it's hard to get better than that. That is just amazing. As I was developing the song, and Nick's schedule got stupid crazy. So I obviously wanted to keep his portion, but when I was like, well, I think I want to add in this crazy, the idea behind this crazy kind of interlude was kind of a nod to the Beatles. I wanted to do kind of day in the life kind of crazy, chaotic thing. And that's easier to do when you have people in the studio going crazy. For me, I just tried my best to, program it and play it. But since he wasn't necessarily around to do another bass, for this section, I just filled it in. It doesn't do anything super special. It just kind of rises and falls with the rest of the beat, and it mostly stays, neutral. And I wanted it to obviously match his, and I, tried my best to make it match. You can't tell on record that it's two different basses, because I think I did a pretty darn good job matching the tones and whatnot. But that's the part of the song that is not his bass. The rest of it is his bass. He sent me all of this, and then I added in a bunch of extra stuff. So there's no bass line here, and then this is basically there's this part over here for the verse and then for the chorus again. So, but he did an amazing job with that bass line, and it came out so good. And I pat him on the back and I give him his props every time for that song and for Ava Adore. He's an amazing bassist. I can't wait until his band is called the Perv Goggles. I can't wait until their stuff comes out because he's such a good musician. He just knows so much. And again, he's one of my musical mentors. He's been teaching me a lot as I've been going around and putting out music, and it's crazy. So we got the beat, we got the bass. So let's go to the keys here. You'll notice it's not that much. It's only 5. You'll see this is actually just a left and a right for this one. And then I have 3 different kind of tones, but this one's the main one, the Emerald Haze. That's the main one that goes throughout the song. And it's really just there, again, to accentuate what's already there, to back up the bass and to kind of help the guitar a bit. And if you notice that, that's basically what happens over here in the breakdown here. That's basically where it's at. But then, of course, during the chorus, it does do something quite a little bit different. And in that case, it's backing up the guitar. So it's there, and then it's here during the breakdown. So we'll get to that in a second. Now, during the breakdown, the solo section, I changed up so it's doing the same. You'll notice this is the same, but I changed up the sound. I still wanted to go I still wanted to do that, but I really wanted it to sound very different. So let's listen to that. And it's really subtle in the mix anyway. But if you hear it, I wanted it to sound very different. So it's very kind of in the background, which, I like. Now, during the bridge here, we have this Emerald Haze pad again, but then I added a space continuum underneath it. And you'll notice that I didn't just replicate it while this one is going, this one's going, and kind of create a new kind of feel. So, and I really liked that. And it should feel like that. I feel like that's part of why it is so good. It's kind of a new day. The whole point of you just went through all of this chaos over here, and now you're kind of, again, you're taking a moment, you're figuring it out, you're taking a deep breath, and this is where you're kind of centering yourself to kind of approach that new day. So you don't want it to sound exactly the same, which is why then adding in that second layer kind of changes it. Now, of course, during the chorus, we end up having this stereo drifter. And that basically is just adding to what the Emerald Haze pad is already doing during the chorus. On top of everything else that's happening in the chorus. Because again, final chorus, not only just the final chorus, but also the final part of the whole album. I wanted it to be as big as possible. But let's hit guitar, because guitar, I didn't separate them out. Again, I do it sometimes and sometimes I don't. So we have guitar 2. We have guitar 2 in a couple of different places. Then we have the guitar rhythm 2. Then we have the lead left and right. And then we have the solo. I don't know why it says soloer. I guess that's just what it is. Let's start here. This is a guitar part from one of these areas over here, but taken and reversed. So then that it kind of leads up to it. Then we have obviously the rhythm guitar here. On the left is actually higher, whereas on the right it's lower. So if we listen to just the right, so I was wrong. It was the opposite. But together, it's pretty cool, and it adds to kind of that feel because I don't want it to be the same. I want it to be different. So again, depending upon where you're listening, you're going to hear different things. And then obviously, you know, the main part of the verse doesn't have any guitar, but then we bring in the lead guitar over here. And you'll hear I have the same kind of amp going on this guitar that I do that I did on Heaven on the bass. So I'm picking it and it's playing the sound, really awesome tone, but then it also is followed up with this kind of heavenly kind of synth. That's again, it's the virtual amp that I was using here. And then we get to our first chorus. And that's where we actually take these same pieces and it's up here. It's at a different volume, you'll notice. That's why they're up. I moved them again, but it's the same pieces, but just at a different volume because now I need them to be lower because now they're also layered on top of the lead guitar doing its thing over here. So if we take this is basically the chorus lead matched with the same riff that we were doing earlier. So you're getting a lot out of these four basically guitars kind of overlapping and doing their thing. You get a lot out of that. The solo. I do have a rhythm guitar here that's kind of just a constant in the back. You'll notice it is really kind of, it's on the low end because I don't want it to necessarily be all that loud. And it's just mirroring what the bass is doing, just again, as just another layer, so that then, of course, the lead can kind of ring out. Now, with this lead, one of these still has that the heavenly, you know, synth thing following it, but then for the other one, I changed it up so that now it's a little bit more like kind of solo toned. And now a lot of people might want that, like the hiss of the amp to be gone, but I thought it fit really well. It was interesting where the hiss of the amp became part of it. So then, of course, together. And then, of course, you have the other guitar kind of behind it. There's a part here where I have it drop out. That's where the, you know, drum part kind of peeks through. I was like, I did have another piece there. I was like, let's just cut that part because I want something different there. You know, I wish I could say that there was like a ton more for the guitar, but there's not. And then it comes back into the verse. It's pretty much the same. And then leading up through the chorus, the guitar is the same. So as big a piece of the song that the guitar is, because it's lending not only to the guitar and to the kind of foundation of the lower tones, but also to the higher tones and to the synth effect that's adding that heavenly synth. Honestly, you can play it on guitar. If you learn a couple of pieces, you could play the rhythm part, maybe not the lead. The lead's a lot. Let's go back now to the vocals. So I have the main vocals here. I have the oh, I have that separated out. And then I have the background of the chaos all, the chaos all as its own thing. And you'll see that I have a left and a right and a center so that it is kind of, it's there and it's there. If you look here, I have left, right, and then also center off, just off center because I don't want these the chaos all and the ahs to conflict here in the end. So left, right, and then just off center, so that they don't clash with each other while they're going together here. Now, of course, these chaos alls are through the whole thing, and the ahs are just at the beginning and then at the end. So if we wanted to just listen to the chaos all by itself, chaos all. And there was a time when I had a bunch of different takes and I would, I did it over and over again. And then I basically just found the right one. And I was like, we'll just have that one be the one. It's just easier that way. It's not the star of the show anyway. So we can just have that. And then same here where we have the ahs. Ah, oh. These are more background elements, so they're not the star. But let's open up the main vocals, because the main vocals, you'll notice that there's not that much of them. I just have one, left and a right and then a left and a right, but I just basically have it of me singing and then of me doing chaos all. I remember the very first time that I did this, the opening, and I sent it over to Nick and Elsie, and Nick was like, well, I think that you're too strong in the first verse. Like, cause I was going for it all. And he was like, make it more subtle, so then we ended up with nothing is nothing. And I think the first time that I did it was just like, nothing is nothing. And I was just like, you know what, let's I think we should probably dial that back a bit and, and start off softer and build to that intensity. And then, of course, doing an O, like, I don't do those a lot. I've really been working on my scream, and there aren't really any screams on this album, but there might be some screams on the next one. I've been working on it because I really want to get some good screams. Here I shout, but I don't scream. So we'll see what happens when that happens. But there's phaser and echo, kind of similar to the vocal effects that I did on Heaven. So not that much different. And then I really wanted to get a really good thing here. You'll notice that the vocals for the chaos alls are lower. I was further away from the, here I was like, nothing. But here I was like, chaos all, to kind of not have it, blow out the speakers. But let's listen to that real quick so you can hear it. It's chaos all. Oh, it sounds empty without that. That's honestly why I had the chaos alls in there, because it really it felt empty without it. It's chaos all. Chaos all. Yeah, that's my jam right there. I mean, I can't even say that it's super complicated. Now, unlike other songs where I kind of do copy and paste stuff, and even with the chaos alls and ahs, here, this is a take. This is a take. This is a duplicate. I took this take and then I believe I duplicated it. And then over here, I took, I believe, all of the different versions, and then I kind of made them all come after each other. So I didn't want any of the chaos alls to sound the same. So they are different from take to take. And then here is kind of a culmination of all the takes. And then, of course, I had to do the longer one here. Not as easy as it might sound, but, this is the last kind of shouting one. It's chaos. Chaos. Awesome. This song, again, it was the cornerstone of this whole album. And I've had a lot of fun going through all of the Logic files and sharing kind of how it all, came together. I really love doing the layering thing where I have my voice, I have the ahs, I have the chaos all, the drums, the bass, I have the two guitars going, and then I added not only regular keys, but then the extra keys. So, you end up with... So you end up with like something that sounds really, really big. One thing I didn't mention here is during the solo part of the song, I actually did up the tempo by 5. Normally the song is 120, BPM, but then I bumped it up to 125 during the solo part there, so that you feel like it's amped up and that it's getting faster and bigger. So again, a little trick that I did there, and then I slow it back down when we get to the bridge part. But yeah, all right, that's the song, guys. Thank you for coming and hanging out and doing these Logic breakdowns with me. Hopefully you enjoyed them. I will see you tomorrow for a live stream.